How many of you have been out riding around your car, you get home and you hit the button so that the garage door opens for you? Well, that's a nice thing to have, but if it breaks, then you got to fix it. Well, that's what we're going to show you in this episode, because the last garage door opener I had, it would only work from the button in the garage, so it was no good to have a remote in your car. So rather than just live with that, I decided to replace it. And I want to show you that process in this video. One of the reasons I like to make these videos for you is because I want you to gain confidence in your ability to fix things. It's going to help you feel better about yourself. Now, you may not need to fix a garage door opener. You may not need to fix a bread machine or whatever else you've got around the house. But if something you've got breaks, rather than just decide you got to throw it out, see if there's something you can do to make a repair. You've got great tools like this one, YouTube. You'll see in this video that I spent a lot of time looking at YouTube to see other people how they were fixing the garage door, because I hadn't done one before. And you can do that exact same thing. So let me show you a couple parts about the garage door opener system first, and then I'll show you the video of the replacement. Okay, here are some components of the garage door opener that you should see. This is not a component of the garage door opener. Many years ago, probably 10 or so, the old one tore out of the garage itself, out of the door, the holder right there. And so as a Band-Aid, which has worked quite well, we screwed this board in and then remounted it to the board. And so that's not normally part of a garage door opener. That's a repair that we did from years ago. There's other components you can see right here. Okay, here's the bar that goes across the top, and that's where the belt, and you can see the little black belt runs along, and it's mounted just with a little pin up here. You'll see me in the video putting that pin in, and then it goes over to the ceiling mount there, and that's where the motor is and where it's plugged in. So that's the drive that pulls it back. The motor doesn't lift all the weight of the garage door, it just pulls. What lifts the weight of the garage door is these springs. Big torsion springs, and those can be a little tricky, so if you're going to try to do anything with those, make sure you know what you're doing. I have not messed with torsion springs yet. They can crack, they can break. If they do, there's a lot of stored energy in them, because that's what's actually lifting the weight of the garage door. Over here, you see a pulley, and you'll see a little cable going down. That goes down to the bottom. When the garage door opener triggers and it starts pulling back on this and lifting the garage door, then it's this spring energy here is really what's lifting the weight of the door and just controlling it so that the motor just has to pull up a much smaller weight. Down in the corners here, like right there and over there, are two sensors. That's shining a light beam across to each other, and as long as it's not broken, then the garage door opener will come down. If something breaks that beam while it's coming down, it will stop it and send it back up, and that's a safety feature so that you don't smash your little sister or cat or neighborhood pet. Once you can see the tracks too, along with our shelves, the tracks here and the rollers that do that. It's good to lubricate those once in a while as well. All right. I guess that's good for now. One lesson I want you to learn as one of my stepsons, because I want you to understand you can at least attempt to fix things. But the worst case is you can't fix it and you throw it away. That's better than than not trying and throwing it away and finding out you could have fixed it later. Behind me is the garage door opener that hasn't been working well at all for months. If you are a boy growing up without a dad in your daily life, then I hope you'll subscribe to this channel and leave your comments, particularly with your questions. What things do you want to see? What questions do you have as a boy growing up without a dad? That's how I grew up. I know it's got challenges for you, and I'm hoping to help with that a little bit. So let's get into fixing. We took one down. I bought this over the weekend because this one, the old one, was working, but only from the button. None of the remotes work. It quit picking up the signal, probably internal electronics. I've decided at this point to go ahead and put a new one in, hoping it would be easy, but it doesn't look like it's going to be yet. So for starters, we got it this far, my son and I, and then discovered that we needed an extension kit, which just came today. So I'm going to work on that now. So here we go. All right, stepsons, I've got the new opener up. It's actually moving the door up and down. The problem I'm having is it won't, the one on the wall won't work because the beams across the baseline are not connected. I figured I could just use the same ones that were there with the old one, but apparently it doesn't like it. So right now I'm swapping out. Some of the fun with this doing it yourself is it's cold where I'm at. It's 38 degrees here in the garage. And my fingers are getting cold, and this is just one of the joys of working with your hands in cold temperatures. So you can do it if you have to, and so give it a try. We are not done yet, but it is dinner. My sweetheart has dinner almost ready, and I'm tired, and we'll probably finish this tomorrow. Okay, stepsons, it's day 2 on the garage door changeover. Where we left it was down there. We've got to mount the beams, the light beams that are the safety catch for when the door comes down. Okay, so we've taken the old photocell off here. These are hardwired in the back, so I'm just going to have to clip the wire each there. So I'm going to cut that off. Now I got to split this. So I'm just going to clip right between the two. You can kind of see how there's 2 wires molded together. And if you get them split apart, then they'll separate, and that's what I need to do. So I'm just going to clip with a pair of diagonal cutters the tips, and now they're splitting apart. One of these has a black stripe on it, the other one doesn't, so that's how you know which ones are which. The instructions said to put the striped one on the outside. To strip them, they actually make wire cutters that are better to use because they have a diameter cutout. I used to have some, lost them. I'm going to just pinch the end, not all the way, and pull up. And eventually, you just get the insulation. You can cut the insulation through the insulation, and that's garbage. And about that much, about 1/4 of an inch off of each side. I'm going to do that here too. One strip, throw that away. There's my 2 wires. Now, before I wire them on, I'm going to position this on the wall. I've got to drill the holes for this one, and then hopefully our garage door opener will work. I marked it as 6 over there. It was actually just a tad below that when I mounted it. I'm going to put that here. Mark that at the top. I'm just going to do opposite holes. And this one. mark where they are. Yeah. Okay, holes are drilled. I do want to put the wires on before I start mounting it because I don't want to do that after. It's easier to access that when it's flexible. You want them to be in a curved shape. So I'm just taking the skinny, small diameter screwdriver and bending the wire around that, doing it for each of the wires. Then we take the screws that anchor these, loosen them up. Now it is important that you put the right wire on the right connection or it won't work. So I've got to get the wire with the black stripe, which is this one, on the outside per the instructions. And I'm going to go underneath that little metal bracket that holds it down so it'll have better contact. And crank it down that way. Now, another thing is this is powered right now. This is very, very low voltage, so I'm not worried about electric shock or anything like that. But it should light up. Maybe I should have done this one first. There we go. So that's in there. Now see how there's green on this? That's because it's powered. Tighten it down and keep it in while I'm tightening it down. Screw this in. Okay, I'm going to get this most of the way in, but not snug. Now we'll do the next one. Here on there. Okay. Okay, so now it's on. If I break it, notice it blinks. So that tells me that it's making connection with the other side, and we should be good to go in terms of the light beam safety sensor for the garage door opener. So now we're going to do two tests. We're going to test the light beam for one. So I'm going to start it down, and then I'm going to come break the light beam and make sure that it goes back up, which it's doing. So that safety measure is in place. Now the next thing we're going to do, it said check the downforce. We're going to put a 2x4 on the ground in the middle, let it actually come down and hit that, and it should theoretically sense too much force for the down stop location and go back up automatically. So if your little brother, little sister, your neighbor's friend, or a pet that you like gets stuck in there, okay, it doesn't look like that one passed. So I'm probably going to have to adjust the down distance. So basically I don't want to see light down there, and to me that looks closed. So that should be the down distance. Let me try a 4x4. We'll do that. We'll try it with a 4x4, which is higher distance, but it's still below the beam. So the beam is still connecting across there, and that won't stop it from going down. Let's see if this checks the force setting. Okay, it worked on a 4x4. I'm going to call that good. One of the last things to do then is to mount the external keypad and verify that the new garage door openers that came with it work. Hit the button, going to hit a button, and that's, oh, I was saying nothing's going to happen. There it goes. So this one works. Well, these two work. So now I've got to, unfortunately, read directions to figure out how to program this one. Okay, I think we're good now. We'll test it and see. I like it when things work. So now we need to mount this to the wall. There are two screws for this. One, we'll put the first one in and it hooks like this, and then the second one anchors it in position, and you take the batteries out and go through that so it can't slide up and just come off, slide up and come off. So that second screw goes through here, we're done. All right, stepsons, we are done with the change out of the garage door opener. This is an example of something you can figure out how to do on your own. Now, this is granted a rather large task, and I didn't even do the installation. I was just changing one out. But hopefully you learned some things as we did this. I'm not done yet because we got cleanup. All the tools need to be put away. Cardboard on the floor needs to be put away. All that stuff needs to be put away. You're not done until the cleanup is done. So I'm going to do that now.
He's giving him his what every boy needs to know about being a man speech.
Now, you may never need to change a garage door opener, but just remember, like I said at the outset, what I want you to get from this is whether you're doing this or some other repair, see what you can do to fix something yourself. It's going to help you feel better about yourself. It's going to save you money in the long run. It's going to give you confidence, and it's going to help you grow into manhood more successfully. So, with that, always remember those two lessons. You can succeed even though your dad's not in your daily life. And always remember, your stepdad loves you. I'll see you on the next video.
That was a good speech.
And you have less self-confidence as a result. Now you're not, I don't know what you call it. The lightsaber. Oh, this is worthless. Need the right size. Up and you realize that there's things that aren't working. That's dumb. Okay, so now the wires are on. Oh, no, they're not. Let's try that again. But I think I got it working now. We will validate as I put this in. And it's not working. Well, it worked a second ago. Now I don't know why it's not working. For this reticular prepare, oh, it's going. Well, always nice to have outtakes.